Hi, my name's Chris, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant for a millennial. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'm just going to keep it to 10 minutes so that way, I don't just keep on going and rambling. But I have some things on my mind, and I feel like this is the good way to kind of journal and, keep track of where I am and how life is going so I can track it. So let's go. All right. So the world seems to be in some type of constant disarray run by people who are either highly negligent or highly ignorant or just like psychopathic in between. This is the way that most of this is being depicted. I love history. I'm actually a psychologist. I'm a state psychologist. I'm a former behavior specialist, BCBA, board certified analyst, the whole thing, right? I'm 30 years old. I live by myself. I make good money and I'm barely able to save anything. I went to college, fun, partied, met a lot of my closest friends, or most people I would consider close friends from there. Most of them not doing too hot. Not gonna lie, and the ones who are working a lot, so much that they don't even feel like a person. They feel like a living zombie of sorts. Um, it just seems like there's just like some form of like constant dysfunction in every ecosystem you look at. You look at the American ecosystem, and it seems to be like run by like corrupt, ignorant, psychopathic, narcissistic, lustful individuals who seem to only care about making sure their sector and their small dividends of people are doing well, while all the working class people seem to be like drowning. It's literally class warfare in America that's also like depicted as like if you're not working actively in the system, then you're like working against it. But the people who are actively doing the most work in the system, even if you look at like slaves, they did the most work, they had no rights. Doesn't make a lot of sense. That's all I'm saying. So like we have like active class warfare going on right now. It seems like you can't prosecute anybody in any form of government, because they have their hands in all these pots of all these people with all this lobbying and investments coming in from all these other countries. Like other countries are spending money here so that they can get their interests met while the interests of the American people are being neglected. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And then you look at our lawmakers, and the lawmakers are a bunch of boot licking scrubs who essentially don't come up with any new ideas. They just regurgitate, we're going to lower prices for this and hire manufacturing or do some other type of good business, and they don't do anything. And then on top of that, you find out that they're like all doing these weird like occulty, Illuminati, glimmerati, ball worshiping crazy things. That is just like off-putting. It's off-putting. Okay, nobody wants to know that somebody they know is doing any of this, right? And then you find out that there's like all these files that they used, some people used to get elected. That they were like, we're going to open these, and then I guess they opened them and they went, my name's in there way too much. I'm not going to do anything. Like I have known about this for years. This is a non-redacted Epstein file. I printed out in like 2017 off the dark web. Okay, like what? So we just look at America and it's a mess. What about Hawaii and the fires there? What about LA and the fires there? What about North Carolina and the missing people they still haven't found? We still have a drug epidemic happening in West Virginia. We have a missing persons epidemic happening between the ages of 6 years old and 18 all over the country. There's all these crazy sex trafficking routes, and on top of not even trying to focus on that, our food is poisoned. All right, they're saying chemtrails are real. They're saying the CIA has been withholding evidence about the cure for cancer. All right, out of nowhere. Okay. Let's see what else is going on in our world. We have one of the richest civilizations, or I guess economically on paper, but they can't use it to actually better their people. So you can subdivide so many problems. There are ecological problems, right? There's problems with the fact that we have like the most oil, but we don't use it. We don't use it, but we have some of the highest oil prices currently. It doesn't make any sense, right? We are just like sadistically going to war with every single country. But I know most Americans don't even leave America. Okay, like they don't even want to be involved in other people's problems because they just don't want to be concerned. Like that's the American nature. We don't want to be concerned. We just want to make money and have fun and ride ATVs and shoot guns and eat fried foods, and look at gorgeous people all day and look at sunsets and go to the beach. That's all we want to do. But we can't do that. right? Because we're not being paid enough, and then we're seeing these crazy sycophants and these crazy, I guess I don't know, like anti social personality disorder people running our government, and it's making us look bad internationally. It's giving us stress, anxiety, depressions through the roof. I mean, when you look at just suicide numbers and you look at drug overdoses, you could just, if you combined both those together, you would realize, wow, people's mental health isn't doing good. And it's from every demographic because we're being literally attacked and gaslit from every direction. We're being gaslit in so many ways that's making us mentally ill. We're being gaslit because we're being sold all these stories and all these narratives of how to do things, but it's like putting an instructional manual into a tool that you open and all the instructions are wrong because they're not even going off of that, right? But the thing is, if you look at, there's only two options when you look at it on paper, is either you do the moral thing and you could potentially be highly screwed over by the immoral people who are doing and running your government and your systems of power, right? Or you can just like become equally just as bad as them and overcome their evil with your own evil, but then you're just playing into the cycle of suffering type stuff, you know. um like like what do you got a clean house? It's so corrupt, it's crazy. You know, it is so corrupt. It is driving people to feel like they're insane when they're actually so sane it hurts, you know. um Internationally, I guess with America, you know, I'm 30 years old. Like, I don't like going to the doctor because our my medical insurance is too high. Even just on paper, it's too high. I look at what they're buying all this stuff in bulk and then selling to me, and I know I'm getting ripped off, right? I have a good job, good insurance, and I really don't feel comfortable like going on like the dates I'd like to go on. I don't have kids currently, because if I had kids, I would be bankrupt. Like, and I literally can't even understand why there isn't more of a break for people who have kids, frankly. You know, they're not giving a lot of initiatives. You look all over the world, and this is kind of like the narrative, right? We're going to war all the time. Your food's not good. You don't feel safe. There's mass shootings all over the freaking place all day by people who are just losing their mind, who don't aren't giving services that we have money to give. We have billionaires. $1,000 million equals $1 billion. And we have literally people who carry this money around in their pockets and their accounts, and they don't do anything except help them make more money. They're not even helping society. They're hoarders. They're like Smaug from The Hobbit. It doesn't make any sense on paper to why we're allowing these people to keep doing all these things. You know, and like, we don't want to overthrow our government. We say we have the right to, but I'm not a fucking psychopath. I didn't mean to curse. I'm sorry. But like, I'm not a psychopath. I don't want to go and murder people if I don't need to. You know, I shouldn't need to. Nobody should have to put in this much effort for change to happen. Elect new presidents, Congress, you know, judicial branches, and it seems like nobody cares about each other, right? It seems like if you have any sort of empathy for anybody, an animal, your environment, another human being, you're exhausted all the time. You're just exhausted because it seems like nobody really cares. They don't care enough. I don't know. I'm not trying to be like pessimistic because I'm a very optimistic person. I try to live my life with gratitude every day because somebody clearly has it worse than me. But it's just the numbness, the apathy. It's the sense of these ignorant buffoons trying to tell you what to do while they mess up your future. I already knew after 9/11 things were funny. I was 5 years old during 9/11 watching people kill themselves out of buildings, and then we went to war and killed a million civilians, and then nothing good happened out of it. Nothing good. It just propelled the suffering, right? Our government just got worse. Inflation got worse. I found out about in trading, and I found out that the banks didn't care about you, and I found out all this other stuff going through elementary school, middle school, high school to college, that by the time I graduated college, I was like, whoa, I'm completely disillusioned to this whole system, right? I still kind of bought into it to a little degree because I was like, maybe I can make it work for myself. And I did, but it, you know, it's good enough. It's good enough for me. But I've had enough discipline and self control to not want to do certain things in my life, to not be horribly financially bankrupt and stressed out of my life. Um, this isn't a blueprint of what to do, but things are wrong. Things are wrong. You're not crazy and you're not being gaslit. You're not being too overly aware. Nobody wants to be this aware about these things. And there's whole levels of conspiracy theories that I could talk about, which are unfortunate, like where missing people are going, like organ harvesting and this and that and yada yada. But like that's for another video. All I'm trying to say is I'm frustrated. I'm a low frustration person just due to my job of being a psychologist and hearing people, have issues all day. And I'm being affected by this negatively. You're not crazy.